Can he hear us?
That is pretty special. Hey, I got too much light behind me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
It's okay.
It's not gonna make too big a
That
difference.
is pretty special. Hey, I got.
Take your time. We're gonna do a little political yik yak. You can pop in whenever you want. You know, we can't avoid it. You had the Nazis up there in Orlando, you know?
He's in Tampa.
No, he moved.
I thought he moved to Tampa.
You're in Orlando, right, Reg?
I'm in Orlando, yes.
Yeah, in Orlando now. And for the best reason of all. Are we in the green room?
We are indeed.
Awesome.
Good morning, everybody. We have an awesome green room today.
No, listen,
I
it's-
really can't wait.
Listen, we have Reggie Williams, friend of us in many ways, and I'm going to introduce him better in a moment. But listen, I put on my Facebook page, tick, tick, tick. If you're a Bengals fan, and I know a lot of them, you know how time goes so slow in these 2 weeks, right, Reg, before the Super Bowl? Unique in football, you get that extra week to prepare. And why would I speak to it when you can? How's time going for you, Reg, as you build up to the big game?
Well, I'm very excited about this season. It's one of those seasons that was totally unexpected, you know, which will be the kind of season whenever the Cleveland Browns get in there, you know. But this particular season, this team came from way back with no expectation. They were 2-14 2 seasons ago, had a losing season last year, and yet they believed in themselves. And they did an amazing job this season of winning games on the road. And you know how hard it is to win on the road? They've won more games on the road than they've lost. In fact, they won more games on the road than they won at home.
Sure.
You know, which is really an amazing feat. So I'm very excited about the team, yet they're facing a very, very tough opponent. The Los Angeles Rams have one of the best defensive lines in all of pro football. That's one of the Cincinnati Bengals' weaknesses, their offensive line. They've got to protect Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
They've shown that they can protect him, and then they've also shown that they can't protect him.
Sure.
So either scenario exists for this Sunday, but
I'm
one thing I
excited
do
for
know,
you.
yeah, I know.
We
One
need
thing
to
I do know.
introduce our speaker.
No, I will.
Some
So listen,
people
Reggie
may not know
Williams
who's
is a
speaking.
former. Reggie Williams is a former. Well, it's all over. Listen, people know. Look behind me. Reggie Williams is a former Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. I know he likes to talk about a lot of things, but I like to talk about being on the recent Dartmouth Alumni Magazine cover. Okay, graduated Dartmouth. So Reggie's a lot of things, but to me, as a Browns fan, he represents the Bengals as, in my opinion, the Bengals' best ever linebacker. I know you have a 57 on that team this year, Reg, and he's a pretty darn good young player. And I know you're too humble to say that your number should have ever been retired. So I know you enjoy watching that 57 out there making a lot of the plays that you do. Believe it or not, I took a little bit of heat for posting this picture of you in the ad for this, Don.
Really?
Somebody reached out and said, why would you show a picture, hang on, of the Bengals losing effort in the Super Bowl? But here's the story. And Reggie told me the story when he gave me this picture. It comes right out of my office. This was Joe Montana's one of his hardest hits. And it was at the last play of the third quarter of Super Bowl 24, right, Reg? Montana completed the pass, okay? And it was critical to their touchdown drive when unfortunately the Bengals didn't, reach the promised land with that ring. But it's so significant to me, the warrior you are. I want to give a big shout out to Reggie as an author also, Resilient by Nature being his bestseller. And, believe me, it's a great book, great read. But I want to get into a little bit of talk, Reg, because listen, he was also a city councilman, okay, in Cincinnati, yes, at the time while he was a football player. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the NFL right now, Reg, just on the coaching side. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy over minority hiring in the NFL, and I know that's a course of interest to you. Did you ever consider coaching at any point after your career? Was it ever a path that you considered? Were there impediments that you saw that kept you from doing it? I just love to hear a little bit of that. I don't know if Ruta, the coach of the Dolphins, who's a fantastic coach, Brian Flores, won 8 out of his last 9 games, turned the franchise around, and somehow lost his job. And, you know, there's a lot of commentary to be had. I'd rather hear it from you.
Well, you know, when I played 14 years. And when I retired, the last thing that I really wanted was to still be under the control of a general manager who you are trying to keep your job from. The one thing that I'm most proud of, I played 14 years and was never fired or never cut. But as a coach, you are really, really, you know, anticipating that eventually, you know, you will be cut. I mean, the coaches that have really, you know, enjoyed a long tenure are very few. I mean, you got Belichick and Mike Tomlin. There's really no one else. And so in that regard, I looked at corporate America and was really, really pleased that Walt Disney World did hire me to start the sports business in 1993. And it resulted in the largest youth sports complex in the world, you know, which is now ESPN Wide World of Sports, which kids from all over the world have enjoyed. Corporate America is a lot easier to maintain your employment than being a NFL coach or player.
Sure. Did you miss it? Did you miss it? The camaraderie, of course, and fellowship of the players.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, that's
right.
one of the true pleasures of the game is the camaraderie in the locker room, the teammates who will give each other everything they've got, times in the huddle, you know, where
what do you think of the Ruta rule and all that? And I want to bring it up because of what's going on in Florida right now. And, you know, we always start with a little bit of politics before we get to medical cannabis. And we're going to talk that too, because of the NFL's, you know, research study, $1 million, not enough, too late, but we'll get back to it. But what's going on in Florida right now is crazy. And Ruta, I played you something yesterday from, and listen, I do support her, Nikki Fried. You know, she had 2 minutes with a megaphone in the rain talking about what hate in Florida. Reggie, you're in Orlando and we miss you in Sarasota, my friend. Believe me, I miss that beautiful view of the bay. You know, but I know why you moved. It's to be closer to your son and your grandkids and all that. And who doesn't want that? But there were Nazis in Orlando, right? A couple weekends ago, and it was bad.
There
and
was
you didn't see that, Don?
For those
there was
because we have listeners that aren't from Florida.
Please.
So we had there was a Nazi, a huge rally.
There were 2 rallies. It wasn't necessarily huge, but it was bad. It was dangerous. Bad. If there's 2 Nazis, it's huge. But they actually got in a fight. Oh no, there were more. That's what I'm saying. It was 20, 25. It wasn't thousands, thank God.
No,
but Reggie, that's up in your zone. But, and, you know, people have spoken against it, but not our governor. And what's going on with the not being able to say that if you're, you know, gender questioning in high school to be able to talk to your teacher.
The ban of
okay,
don't say gay,
the voting, don't say gay.
Don't say gay.
I mean, can you imagine
it's advancing. They
the
said
voting suppression,
you
know, what's going on.
Yeah,
there's hate going on in this state, and it's really, really bad. And, you know, Reggie, as somebody who's been so socially aware and conscious through the years, you know, I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what to do about it, except to, as loudly as I can, say, find your candidates and support them that will speak out against this, you know, and that's local.
For everything.
For
everything. Yesterday, I actually posted it and then I took it down because
so agitated by
but there was somebody, it was Boo Williams. Boo Williams posted a thing about, we're finally going to have an African-American owner of a cannabis industry. And the way it was phrased was so derogatory that I didn't even want to repost it because I was like, you want to vomit when you read it. And I'm like, seriously?
Because the allotting of one license through the Pigford case is really an insult to that extent, you know,
it's an insult.
And there should be more, there should be absolutely, you know, legacy, minority, make sure, you know, participation, make sure the taxes go the right place to repair the past social ills. And once again, this Brian Flores case is concerning to me because, you know, the NFL you would think through all these years would make change. And it does segue into the medical cannabis conversation, Reggie, because you know how difficult it is to move that shield. Why do I say it that way? Because you know what the shield is, right, Reg? I know you know. And the shield is the shield. The shield has, you know, in my opinion, you know, not done enough to advance, you know, minority coaching and other opportunities. Ozzie Newsome My favorite Browns player, fortunately, was the general manager of the Ravens for a number of years. Fantastic, unbelievable, in my opinion, one of the best general managers. And Reggie, it's a funny part of the story. Hang on, as a Browns fan, if the Bengals win, and I'm rooting for you, it's funny. Every Browns fan, we have Odell Beckham Jr. on the other side who kind of quit on us and this and that. It's hard to root for the Bengals, but believe me, I'm all in. I got way too many friends. But I heard somebody say, hang on. I heard somebody say yesterday, I got to get to my joke. I heard somebody say yesterday on Cleveland media that the best outcome for a Cleveland fan is an earthquake in the first quarter, okay, of the game, okay? And that way nobody wins. So I'm not going to go there. I'm praying for you Bengals fans to finally get to the promised land.
Really? An earthquake in the first quarter?
An earthquake, that's the Cleveland fans on Cleveland Sports Talk, Reg. That's where that comes from, believe it or not. So I can't say that I made that one up, but I just think it's kind of classic because Odell Beckham Jr., listen, he's a pretty great player, but I think he gave up on the Browns for whatever reason that may be, but it's not a sports talk show. I want to get back to the cannabis side, but you know how hard it is to change the shield. The shield's going to protect pretty much everything. And cannabis, of course, has been that way as well. What did you think when you saw that the NFL finally has gone and given $1 million towards research? 166 people, Ruta, research grant, which was cool. So they had a lot of people to pick from.
Don, there's a little message thing coming up with it.
Oh.
I just saw it. I just don't know if are we still okay?
Yep. Are you still with us, Rich?
Okay.
So
I'm with you.
Good. So what do you think of the NFL finally getting off the mark? Way too late, probably way too little, but making a statement about cannabis.
No, that's exactly my sentiments right now. And I wrote about it in my book, Resilient by Nature, that if I'd been commissioner long ago, we would have done all of the appropriate research. We would have answered the question of whether it was beneficial for concussions, whether it was beneficial for pain, whether it was beneficial for fighting off CTE. All of these very important issues is something that the NFL has an opportunity to research. And if they research it with more money, I mean, $1 million is not going to do much, okay? And when you have, when you're playing your quarterback tens of millions of dollars individually, it seems like you have to commit more to solutions, especially if those solutions will create an opportunity for a player to play longer and safer. And in those respects, it's long overdue, but I'm glad they're finally on the page, and I'm glad that they finally have lowered the results necessary to kick a player out of the game because they're wisely, using medical cannabis or some other cannabis to deal with their pain organically rather than using pain pills, which are horrible.
I agree.
Yeah, there's been a slow erosion of the testing. What you're referring to is they raised the nanogram amount in the urine test fourfold, actually. They announce when they're going to test now. I think, what is it, one preseason test, things of that, like that. And I think the key is if it's about impairment, and I think that's in every profession, and it's one of the things we talk about in corporate America, Reg, and in sports, in the medical field, of course, right, is first responders, of course, is still that urine test, for cannabis that still gets in the way, of a lot of people being able to utilize it without, layering on more anxiety, right? Which is why they may want or need to take it anyway. But in your case, and listen, every time I see you in Orlando, and listen, your son's career is so much fun to watch, and, give him a shout out, and your grandkids are gorgeous. Seriously, every time I see you,
I like the artwork that he has.
Oh,
on his
no,
walls.
you don't
I'm
know.
like looking at the artwork.
No,
I'm
you
like,
don't know.
wow, I
Reggie's
want to go in. It looks like a museum in there. It's awesome.
Reggie's a
He has
collector.
some nice pieces.
No, Reggie's a
Seriously,
collector.
it's a
I had
beautiful
the
art.
honor and privilege of visiting Reggie in his home, and so gracious. But my point is, every time I see you now walking as you do, you have to understand, everybody. Reggie, I hope you don't mind. It's not a hip betrayal. Reggie had, three, tell me if I'm wrong, not four, three horrible knee replacement surgeries with
Or, wow.
Yeah, with right with the MRSA infections and this that. But now, and that's resilience by nature, everybody, and a warrior as it is. But with the help of medical cannabis, right? And I know you don't mind talking about it, but listen, it's medicine, and that's what it is. And with the appropriate instruction to all of our players, such as yourself, it needs to be there as an adjunct as we go forward. So many players I know that probably haven't been able to use it yet because of the various restrictions, be it where they live, what they still do for a living, and we got to get rid of that.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it should be available for all individuals who are looking for a holistic herbal remedy for pain. I mean, pain is the biggest detriment to your ability to perform on Sunday.
Well, for sure, and later in life. I mean, Reg, I think, listen, post-concussive syndrome is interesting, and I think to a certain extent you would have felt it in your personal life. I think way before now. So I know, so many players, though, on the other hand, that have left us way too early. Some with significant mental health issues and conditions. Mike Webster, of course, was a player from our era, and he was a fantastic center, for the Steelers,
He did all kinds of steroids.
What's that?
He did all kinds of steroids, as did their whole offensive line.
So
they went to those anabolic solutions, which made them bigger and stronger for the moment, but it really cut down their lifespan.
No doubt. Lyle Alzado as well, I think was pretty well known. So that steroid era was so interesting. I'm glad, hopefully it's not as prominent or as prevalent in the league at this point. But my point is, Junior Seau, there's been other, prominent names. But the point is, and it's the research, once again, that should have been started 20 years ago. That's the too late. And listen, $1 million, you're right, Reg. That's just but spitting in the wind for the NFL. So I think we need it.
Thing is,
it's a statement.
It's a statement, and
we need to continue to put the pressure on, though.
Yeah, but I mean, for them to come out and actually say it, they're still under restrictions because it's still illegal by law in the United States.
That's true.
So they're still,
that's true. Hang on, what a great time to bring this up. So, Reg, look what I brought out. So I want you to tell everybody what this is, because listen, I have a lot of Cincinnati friends. I want to give them a shout out. Mike Samet, Stuart Kirshner, Cowboy Levin. Those are all my Ohio State friends. And I remember exactly what this is. Tell us what it is, Reg, as we go forward and give you guys a good Who Day as you go forward into your Super Bowl.
Mike Martin was a teammate. He was wide receiver on our team. He was our punt returner, has a phenomenal voice, and he was the lead singer in this song, which was written by Reggie Calloway of the famous soul group Midnight Star. And so it basically was an album which basically talked to kids, it wasn't really talking to adults, but it basically just say no, keep your self-control. And anyway, I'm in the background, so it's a song that I do love. So I hope everyone.
Listen, that's a picture of Reggie. How old were you here, Reg?
I'm in my mid-30s. I'm a city councilman then, and Mike Martin is the guy in the middle. And
awesome.
We actually did the very first team anthem in the 1981 season when we went to the Super Bowl. Midnight Star, which is from Cincinnati, they were able to write a song and record it in those 2 weeks between the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. And so Bengals #1, which is I think better than the Super Bowl shuffle by the Chicago Bears, which was done 4 years later. So. And now, obviously, Bootsy Collins did a song this year, Fear the Tiger. So, and so basically, it's a lot of fun. You're trying to give your fans, more reasons to enjoy the team. And music is something that everyone can enjoy together and collectively.
And you're so multi-talented. Who knew you could sing? This is awesome.
No, what I really think we need you for, Reg, is to get you back into politics. And listen, going back, seriously, and we do. In the green room, we talk about a lot of things. But we need voices like
Balanced
yours.
voices.
We do.
We need
We
balanced
do.
voices.
And I know that's probably the furthest thing from your mind, enjoying your, your life at this point. What are you up to right now? What's your main focus? What's really got your passions going?
Well, my favorite charity here in Central Florida is Give Kids the World. And Give Kids the World is a place that provides kids who are in their most at-risk circumstances. They have life-threatening illnesses. Most of the kids are referred to Give Kids the World from Make-A-Wish Foundation, but their wish is before they die, they want to see Mickey Mouse. And it's one of the most amazing things that there are times when a kid is so overjoyed about their opportunity to be in the Magic Kingdom, to meet Mickey, to meet Minnie, to meet Goofy, Pluto, and all the other characters bring so much happiness to so many people that somehow happiness is one of the great medicines in life. And if you are happy, your ability to fight off illnesses is enhanced. And so there have been times that kids who've gone there with life-threatening illnesses, because they have been exposed to so much happiness, they find a way to survive. And that's one of the things that really inspires me, is that we all have a chance to bring happiness in other people's lives. And that's why I'm really, excited about, all the volunteers that are supporting Give Kids the World here in Central Florida.
And how can people donate to that, Reg? Is that the website, I would suspect? And
yeah, they have their own website, Give Kids the World. In fact, they have a fundraiser here next week in Orlando where volunteers, and they've got like 2 days of volunteers, like 70 plus, that are each raising $10,000, and they're going to rappel off the side of a 30-story building. Wow. This is the second year they've done it. That's something I couldn't do. Okay.
not on your best, not on your best day, Reg.
Yeah, me neither.
and surely not at this point. But no, listen, I had no doubt that you were going to come out with something along those lines on the charitable, side. But
yeah, thanks for giving back. That's like the best. I love that.
Well, for sure.
Like you have such a good voice and such a strong voice. So anytime you put your name to something and it helps people, it's so strong. It's the best thing you can do. It's awesome.
It is, and we do. We miss you in Sarasota. And, I know Orlando's better for having you there. And, just once again to talk a little bit about Florida. And I know we don't have very much time right now. Yep, a few moments. But I do want to talk legislatively about Florida for a moment, because we do have a lot of listeners. We're still drastically hoping that they take up our telehealth initiative, at least in Tallahassee.
I hope so.
Reg, I don't know if you heard this part. A lot of people haven't. They've actually advanced a veterinary medicine telehealth bill. So it's supported by the Cattlemen's Association, believe it or not, and the NRA. And some other big lobby groups. But basically it allows veterinarians to take care of animals in a manner that I, as a medical cannabis clinician, can't do for my cancer patients. So I call it cattle over cancer, my elderly patients who, don't want to go out without a mask right now, so it's felines over the elderly, or just, pets over vets, all my veterans, so it's pretty insulting. So my point is, there is something for our listeners. If you do, listen, call your representatives or your senators right now and encourage them to co-sponsor the bills. Because what happens is it's leadership. Ruta could speak to this.
But they said it's already done.
No, hang on. I'm not giving up.
No,
we've worked too hard to get a seat. We've worked too hard to get a seat at the table. I want to give one more shout out about it. Will Robinson's committee, you can reach out to him and or your representatives, encourage them to co-sponsor House Bill 333, which would allow me to connect with my remote patients so they won't have to come and see me in Venice, okay, for whatever reason, be it because they're ill, because they have to drive a long way, because they want to take a half a day. They don't want to take a half a day off work. We have autistic kids that, are hard to get out of the home. So there's a million reasons, but I'm not giving up, Ruta, because I know Reggie wouldn't want me to give up. And as long as I got a few minutes left in the zone here, because we are, Reg, we're leading up to the end of a very crazy session up in Tallahassee where they don't want to teach history. you
No,
know,
that's
as
a
it
frightening
was.
thing, too.
And,
That's just that's
when I
setting
get somebody like Reggie in front of me, it
craziness.
just makes me remember that you have to be active. You have to be active at every level. And, you know, once again, even while he was playing in the NFL, he took the time to do that. So it's so good to have you still out there doing all the great things that you do. So
Any new books on the horizon?
yeah, you're writing another
or
book?
anything?
Oh, I haven't started yet on another book, but you never know. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm supporting some local candidates here. Natalie Jackson is running for representative here. Obviously, I'm a Val Demings fan. You know,
Absolutely.
we need to put pressure on DeSantis. He is really, you know, he's an Ivy League governor. I don't know where he got his education. It's like Donald Trump was an Ivy League. I don't know how he got into the Ivy League. I mean, they just
I did
proved.
too. I wondered that because and how he came out of there the way he did. Because usually, like if you go to an Ivy League,
No, he just
school,
emanates.
have a different.
He just emanates a very hateful approach.
I know, but
And
that's why
we're
it's like, where do you go?
inclusionists. We're inclusionists here, and we I love to engage
I
discussion
still
and
don't know how he went
debate.
to Yale, but that's okay.
What's that?
I don't know how he got into Yale, but that's okay.
I don't. Yeah. Well, listen, it's not Dartmouth. Let's let you know.
He
let's
got
put
into
it
Yale
that
the same way that Trump got
Trump did.
into Pennsylvania,
way. Right.
and it wasn't because of his intelligence. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I have one more Super Bowl question for you, Rich. So I know you're not going out. I know you're not going out to LA. I guess it's going to be like a heat wave out there or something in
It's
LA.
warm.
Seriously.
They said, well, my friend, I have a lot of friends that live in LA, and they were all saying it's warm, but it's in the 70s. It's not like
No, I heard like even like 80s or even up to
'cause I
90
was
on
gonna
Super Bowl
say,
day
like,
or something
it's
like
not
that.
that hot.
So it'll be interesting. But I know you're not going out to LA, but although I'm sure you could have. You're going to be watching, and I read on your Facebook in your spot, which is your good luck spot. So tell me about your game day experience. And I'm going to text you before the game and give you a good solid who day.
Well, thank you very much. Who day, everybody. But yeah,
what does that mean? Explain it to those that are not Cincinnatians, who don't know who day.
Yeah, Who Day is a cheer that sort of evolved during our first run to the Super Bowl. And so basically the whole cheer goes, who they think is going to beat them Bengals? Where do they play? In the jungle. Afraid of nobody. So that's sort of our thing, you know. It's the takeoff of the New Orleans Saints, who dat. And but you know we could debate about who came first, but I think New Orleans honestly did come first, so I'll give them that credit. But this will be a tremendous season for Cincinnati Bengal fans. Okay, the team has created such electricity in the city. It has proven itself that even though the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds, have had a number of championships, Cincinnati is a football town. They want a football championship. They want the Lombardi Trophy to reside in Cincinnati. And I'm entreating all fans. If you have no one to root for, our bandwagon is wide open. You know, we will welcome you. You will enjoy the experience. Like I say, the Who Day cheer is fun. And we are looking forward to a great game this Sunday. And may the best team win. That's all I can say.
So what are the players kind of feeling right now? Because you were there. So like, I mean, they must be, are they nervous or like, I mean, do they get like did you have any kind of ritual that you prep and would do kind of to get ready?
Yeah, I'm sure the players are nervous. There's no way that you cannot really be in high anticipation of this game. There's just so much hype. The game has gotten so much bigger now than when, I played. I mean, when you're thinking that the average ticket price right now is over $8,000, I mean, that is kind of ridiculous that, people will pay that much. I mean, tens of thousands of people will pay that much to watch you play. So the hype is phenomenal. But, the same rituals that I had in the regular season, I take to the postseason. So I never ate on before a game. And so, that sort of hunger creates a certain animosity, which brings you to be as competitively, violently as you need to be, given that I'm a linebacker. So I really hope that the players who have been on this team, they've already proved that they can play well on the road. And the fact that they're playing in the Super Bowl against a team in their home stadium.
Second year in a row. How can that be? It never happened before. Then last year, I know, how can that, the sports are crazy that way, isn't it, Reg?
It is crazy that, these things sort of go in cycles. So now they're gonna have to think about, is there really a home field advantage? So the Cincinnati Bengals have got to go into LA and take away all of those advantages that a home team does have. The fact that you don't have to travel, you're sleeping in your own bed. You're with your own fans, your home family can be there with you through the whole experience, which allows you to deal with a lot of unnecessary stress in an appropriate way. But I'm confident that the leadership of the Cincinnati Bengal players, Joe Burrow has been a phenomenal quarterback who has shown tremendous resilience and coming back from a horrible knee injury last year to really lead this team.
He's an Ohioan. He's an Ohioan. He's from Athens, of course. So, in Ohio State originally. So, a lot of reasons to root for the Bengals, Reg. That's for sure.
And so, I hope all your listeners do root for the Bengals, and just hope that it's a great game, that there's no major injuries, and may the best team win. And I always appreciate being on your show, Ruta and Barry. I appreciate having the opportunity to say hooday and wish the world a much better place.
Yes.
And thank you for all your expertise in bringing medical cannabis to the needs of citizens all here in Florida.
And give us one more plug for your book too, because we do have listeners out there who would love to probably get a copy of it. So give us a plug on your book.
Yeah, there's a plethora
it.
of great stories in my book called Resilient by Nature. It's a collaborative work with Jared Bell, who is the lead football writer for USA Today. And the foreword is written by Russell Wilson, the star quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. His father and I were best friends at Dartmouth College, great teammates. And so I just encourage you, if you're looking for a great read for this Valentine coming up, then I encourage you to get Resilient by Nature. It's available on Amazon, or you can get it on Kindle book. So it's something that is accessible for everyone. Thank you for giving the opportunity to plug.
Of course.
Fantastic.
No, listen,
Read, so
Reg, you can count on later today. Don will make a cut of you singing your hooday hooday.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it to you so that you can share it with the world, okay, as we come up to the game, because that was a classic.
We need to do a talent show of all our
green room. I know all our green room.
They have all these amazing
have
talents.
great
We have
talents.
the recruiters, we have everything. That's awesome.
But I'm going to ship that to you later. Listen, and Paul Brown, founder of the Bengals, of course, great Cleveland Browns coach. So, listen, I think all of Ohio is behind you and everybody else.
All right.
So be well, stay safe and healthy.
And thank you so much for being on.
Peace. Thank you very much.
Peace.
Hooday.
You got it.
See everybody next week. Enjoy the Super Bowl.